top 10 most luxurious cities in the world. Are you dreaming of living in a world-renowned city, surrounded by history, architecture, and endless culinary delights? While it may sound like a dream come true, be prepared to open your wallet wide. Living in some of the most popular and expensive cities in the world can come with a hefty price tag. The good news is that we're here to help determine which cities come with the highest price tags. From Tokyo to New York, Paris to Shanghai, we've got the scoop on the most expensive cities in the world. In this video, let's look at the top 10 most luxurious cities in the world. Number 1. Dubai. Dubai is the most populous city in the United Arab Emirates UAE and the capital of the Emirate of Dubai. Established in the 18th century as a small fishing village, the city grew rapidly in the early 21st century into a cosmopolitan metropolis with a focus on tourism and hospitality. Dubai is one of the world's most popular tourist destinations, with the second most 5-star hotels in the world and the tallest building in the world, the Burj Khalifa. While grandiose visions of tax-free wealth lure expats to the United Arab Emirates in droves, it is worth remembering that the cost of living in Dubai is rather high. The city ranks as one of the most expensive in the Gulf region and was placed at 23rd out of 209 cities around the world in the Mercer Cost of Living Survey for 2020, ranking 16 spots higher than its neighboring Emirate of Abu Dhabi. Number 2. Paris, France. Paris is the capital and most populous city of France, with an estimated population of 2,175,601 residents as of 2018, in an area of more than 105 square kilometers, 41 square miles. Since the 17th century, Paris has been one of Europe's major centers of finance, diplomacy, commerce, fashion, gastronomy, science, and arts. The city of Paris is the center and seat of government of the region and province of Île-de-France, or Paris region, which has an estimated population of 12,174,880, or about 18% of the population of France as of 2017. The Paris region had a GDP of 709 billion euros, $808 billion in 2017. According to the Economist Intelligence Unit Worldwide Cost of Living Survey in 2018, Paris was the second most expensive city in the world, after Singapore and ahead of Zurich, Hong Kong, Oslo, and Geneva. Another source ranked Paris as most expensive, on par with Singapore and Hong Kong, in 2018. Number 3. Hong Kong, China. Hong Kong, officially the Hong Kong Special Administrative Region of the People's Republic of China (HKSAR), is a metropolitan area and special administrative region of China on the eastern Pearl River Delta in South China, with over 7.5 million residents of various nationalities in a 1,104 square kilometer, 426 sq.mi territory. Hong Kong is one of the most densely populated places in the world. Hong Kong is a highly developed territory and ranks 4th on the UN Human Development Index. The city has the largest number of skyscrapers of any city in the world, and its residents have some of the highest life expectancies in the world. The dense space led to a developed transportation network with public transport rates exceeding 90%. Hong Kong is ranked 4th in the Global Financial Centers Index. Number 4. London. The golden child of good old Britain, London, with its evergreen rustic charm and its air of genial sophistication, can win over anybody's heart. London's luxury lies in its streets, the cobblestoned alleys, the aesthetic vintage walls, and the iconic telephone booth. One could simply have an impromptu photo shoot while walking down London roads, complete from eating the English breakfast at a little quaint and pretty cafe, shopping at Oxford Street or Harrods from a collection of chic and high-end brands, picnicking in the gorgeous Hyde Park, visiting the marvelous Madame Tussauds Wax Museum, riding the London Eye and watching the sun rays glisten on the cool waters of the Thames. to finishing off with watching opera at the Royal Opera House. London is magic. Number 5. Singapore. Singapore is considered to be one of the best places to live in, and for a good reason. They're just so better at doing things than most countries, from public transportation to business ecosystems to innovations in several industries. Some regions will contain the shopping districts, while others are home to the financial district. These factors and more can make or break your budget when living in Singapore. Number 6. Sydney, Australia. Housing is easily the biggest expense living in Sydney. By comparison, housing in Melbourne is 24% cheaper than in Sydney. The average rent in an expensive area is $3,404, and utilities per month are almost 50% cheaper in Melbourne than in Sydney. Here's a breakdown of the housing expenses you'll need to budget for in Sydney. In comparison to Melbourne, Sydney fares quite well in terms of food and drink costs. While milk costs a little more, 1 liter of whole-fat milk is $1.31 compared to $1.24 in Melbourne. Lunches, fast food restaurants, and domestic beer is cheaper. In fact, beer in the supermarket is 17% cheaper in Sydney than in Melbourne. Unless they're being made and sold in Australia, clothes and shoes are always going to be more expensive here than in other countries. On average, Sydney is 4% more expensive than Melbourne and other major cities in Australia for clothes and shoes. Number 7. New York, USA. It's no secret that living in New York City is expensive. Before the average NYC resident's paycheck even reaches the bank, they're shelling out some of the highest income taxes in the country, with high taxes on both the state and local level. Beyond that, prospective residents face some of the least affordable housing in the country. That's particularly true for NYC residents who want to be in the heart of it all and live in Manhattan. After housing, the number 1 expense for most Americans is transportation. For car owners, that's the cost of buying, maintaining, insuring, fueling, and storing their vehicle. If you use public transit, you'll be on the hook for a transit pass and possibly parking if you need to drive to pick up the bus or train. Number 8. Tokyo, Japan. The City of Lights in Japan. It is an expensive city, and that's known to all. Tokyo is very famous for growing fruits in different shapes, such as the square watermelon. And of course, these exceptional fruits are costly. For example, square watermelon will cost you about yen 7.8 USD. These price tags are enough for us to understand how expensive the city is. Number 9. Los Angeles, USA. Los Angeles, often spoken and written as its initialism, LA, is the largest city in California, with a 2020 population of 3,898,747. It is the second largest city in the United States after New York City, and the third largest city in North America after Mexico City and New York City. Los Angeles is known for its Mediterranean climate, ethnic and cultural diversity, Hollywood entertainment industry, and its sprawling metropolitan area. About 4 million people call Los Angeles home, making it the second largest city in the United States. When you add in all the other smaller cities that make up Los Angeles County, the urban area clocks in at more than 10 million people. It's hard to make generalizations about such a large and diverse area, but one thing can be stated for certain: Los Angeles is an expensive place to live. Number 10. Geneva, Switzerland. Prices in Switzerland are higher than the European average. The 2014 Mercer Cost of Living Survey ranked Zurich and Geneva as the 5th and 6th most expensive cities in Europe. Housing and utilities, as well as food, healthcare, clothing, and leisure activities cost more in Switzerland. Transport, electronics, and telecommunications are at similar levels to the rest of Europe. Petrol is cheaper than in France and Italy, but the costs involved in owning a car are high. In spite of the Eurozone's current instability, Switzerland's policy of enforcing a minimum exchange rate to the euro has been successful in keeping the inflation rate just slightly negative since late 2011. As elsewhere, the general rule of thumb is that rental costs should not be higher than 25% of gross monthly income. This is a partial charge and the actual usage is calculated later, then either invoiced or refunded. Electricity is billed directly to the tenant. If you enjoyed this video, I invite you to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss any new videos.